What's going on, Falcons fans? Logan here. Welcome back to Rise Up Rundown. Oh, yeah, that's right. You guys really do not like my mustache. Now, I'm just going to be honest with you, and I'm just telling you the truth. So, I'm not saying lies or anything, but I frankly don't care what anyone says about the mustache. I really do not care if you guys like it or not. And the harsh reality is that it's not the opinions of others that matter about my mustache. What matters is that I don't like it either. So we're going to change that. Much better. What's going on, Falcons fans? Logan here. Welcome back to Rise Up Rundown. And if you're new here, welcome. So don't mind the noise in the background. My guinea pig thinks that when I snap, I give her food. So anyway, I tried to do this last week, but I couldn't. And now we're finally doing the first of three. The Atlanta Falcons schedule predictions videos. These seem to be everyone's favorite as they not only get the most views and the most comments, but the comments are always the most entertaining for both me and the audience, it seems. Because everyone loves to give out their take on, how many games I think they're going to win and if they agree or disagree. And then they like to give out their win-loss prediction, and I love to see what everyone else thinks. These seem to be everyone's favorite, and I'm excited to go over this. And just like we do basically every year, there's going to be three of these. One of them is in June, and then the other one is in July, and then the last one is in August. And then September, we obviously get ready for the season. Now, before we begin, I need to clarify something that hopefully I can get across. I tried to get this across last year, and either I'm really bad at explaining, or you guys just didn't really get it. These schedule predictions videos, ever since last year, are best case scenario predictions, meaning if everything goes right, basically like near perfect for the Falcons, this is the best that I think that they're gonna do. Realistically, my schedule predictions for the Falcons comes late August to early September on my sports channel down below with my brother, and you'll see my realistic Falcons prediction there. But for these schedule predictions videos, these are all best case scenarios because nobody really wants to go over I think realistically this team is gonna win 5 games. So let's just go over why they're gonna lose 12 of them. You know what I mean? I want to do the best case scenario for this channel. And I don't think a lot of people understood that last year, or maybe I was just so bad at explaining it because I had comments coming back last year saying, remember when this guy thought the Falcons were going to win 10 games? Oh my gosh, what an idiot. And I'm like, I never said the Falcons were going to win 10 games realistically. I said realistically they were going to win around 7 to 9 games, around that range. And guess what? The Falcons won 7 games. But I said if everything goes right, I can see them winning 10 games. But not everything went right. Calvin Ridley got suspended. Arthur Smith, as a first-year head coach, of course, had some learning curves. Not everything went right. Jalen Mayfield sucked in his rookie year. Now, not everything needs to be perfect for us to make the playoffs, of course, but, if everything is, near perfect, like the 2016 Falcons, where, of course, not everything was perfect, but it kind of felt perfect in a way to make the Super Bowl, that's what I mean. Just the best thing that could ever happen to us, these are the schedule predictions. And I hope I got that across. I wasn't trying to shred anyone. I'm just, saying. I maybe was bad at explaining that, or people just didn't get it. But hopefully we're on the same page here. But anyway, let's get on to the schedule predictions starting right now. Alright, now usually I'm always talking in front of a camera with this red neon light behind me for my videos. But for this one, I just think it'd be easier for me to explain a little more of what I'm talking about if I just look at the schedule in front of me and think a little better instead of just looking at the camera and trying to, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I basically just think that doing graphics and explaining behind camera would be easier for schedule predictions like this. So I hope that showing graphics is not this big problem and you guys would have rather seen my face. But anyway, let's get started. Week 1 versus the New Orleans Saints. Now, yes, the fan base could show out. It is a Week 1 game, and it's versus the Saints. Of course, Falcons fans are going to be excited for that. And these are just my predictions. I think that Marcus Mariota is going to start the season off. But I'll be honest with you, whether it's Marcus Mariota or Desmond Ridder, I don't see how this is going to be a win. The Saints are still not that bad of a roster. Like, they still have Cam Jordan and Marshawn Lattimore against our really young wide receivers like Drake London and Olamide Zaccheaus. I don't really see that working out for us. And Cam Jordan versus our really young offensive line. And Jameis Winston, before he got injured, was kind of making that Saints team a playoff team. And also, not to mention that not only have the Falcons been pretty bad against the Saints at home recently, but they have been very bad to start the season off. In fact, the last time they won a season opener was back in 2017 versus the Bears, but even then, we didn't really win that game. So, I don't really see how this is going to be a win, regardless of who the quarterback is. I think it could be close, maybe, but I just don't really see us pulling this out. And then, I'm not going to explain this one for too long. The Falcons versus the Rams. You tell me how we're supposed to win that one. The reigning Super Bowl champs at home. Now, do I think there's maybe going to be more Falcons fans there than Rams fans? Sure, but at the same time, the Rams did just win a Super Bowl, so maybe they're going to attract a fan base here. And it's week 2. The Rams fans are going to definitely show out still. Even if they start the season off bad, but I don't think that's going to happen. And then, really, you think Aaron Donald versus this unproven offensive line, and Jalen Ramsey versus Marcus Mariota or Desmond Ridder and our young wide receivers, you think that this is going to go well? Just no freaking way. Count me out. But count me in on this next one, the Falcons versus the Seahawks. Now, the Seahawks maybe have a slight advantage roster-wise. Like, they maybe have better wide receivers, or at least at the moment, like over the offseason, if you look on paper, with DK Metcalf and, why am I forgetting the other guy's name? Tyler Lockett. But they do need a quarterback. And to me, Pete Carroll will go down as the greatest Seahawks coach of all time. He's awesome. I'm not saying that he sucks, but I think the game has passed him by. I don't think he's thinking with a modern approach, and I think that's actually going to kill the Seahawks a little bit. Whereas Arthur Smith, you know, he's known for having a really good offense and turning players' career around. And, well, you've probably heard my stance on Arthur Smith a lot, so I won't really dive into it too much. But I think Arthur Smith, especially after 2 rough losses, will have this team prepared for this Seahawks team. And I know it's on the road and all, but we literally just traveled to the West Coast, so we'll already have a taste of it, I guess. I think we could win this game for sure. Like, you know, you're not looking at this like, oh, we're definitely going to win, but you're also not really looking at it like, you know, we're definitely going to lose. So it's really just the Seahawks quarterback situation and maybe their head coach situation they got going on. Arthur Smith, I think, is going to, you know, take those 2 losses he had seriously. Just like he did last year. Like, we turned it around last year, week 3, so I think we'll do the same here. Now, week 4. Okay, so we're back home. That's a plus. This is so tough to decide what's going to go down here. And it's really just because of Deshaun Watson. If Deshaun Watson plays, I don't really see us winning this game because Deshaun Watson, as a player, is very good. When he was playing, he kind of was a top 4 quarterback, and the Browns do still have an amazing roster. Maybe Kevin Stefanski will bounce back after a pretty rough season last year. But the thing is, everyone is pretty confident that Deshaun Watson is going to miss at least around 4 to 5, maybe 6 games. And I've seen some crazy rumors of 8-game suspension, a whole year suspension. The whole thing is, I just don't know if Deshaun Watson is going to play. And if Deshaun Watson's not going to play, do you seriously expect Baker Mayfield to want to play for this team? I do not. So, it really just depends on if Deshaun Watson plays or not. But they're saying at the minimum 4 games, which we got lucky that this is week 4. And I think the Falcons will actually end up winning this game only if Deshaun Watson doesn't play. Now, sure, the Browns have a way better roster than us, but again, it kind of goes down to Arthur Smith being prepared after those 2 rough losses to start the season and the quarterback play, just like we talked about with the Seahawks. Marcus Mariota, I think at this point will make things interesting. I don't know if he'll be good by this time necessarily, but I just, it depends on Deshaun Watson playing, but I think we could win this game if he doesn't play. Now, this game versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, yuck, gross, no way we're going to win that. Moving on. 49ers versus the Falcons. So I don't know if the Falcons still have this, big hatred towards Kyle Shanahan anymore. A lot of the players that were on that 2016 squad is gone. I think the only players that are still there are Grady Jarrett and Jake Matthews, who both got big contract extensions, so they'll be here for a little while, but, man, I don't know. So, again, these are just best case scenarios, so don't take this as me predicting them to win, but Trey Lance has reportedly been pretty underwhelming lately, and the Falcons have honestly not been bad against the 49ers recently. I guess, they were demolished by them last year, but, going back to 2016 and 2019 and, we've been okay against them, and, it doesn't look like Deebo Samuel's going to stay, so really the only offensive weapon we need to worry about is George Kittle, I guess. We obviously have to watch out for everyone, but the only, true threat that I feel we need to watch out for from the Niners on offense is George Kittle. But I just don't really see how Deebo Samuel is going to stay, so I think the Falcons should be fine. It really could go either way. This is just best case scenario. I don't know if Trey Lance is going to be good this year. I think he's definitely going to start the season off rough. So I guess that's why I predict them to win. Now, this game versus the Cincinnati Bengals, gross. No way we're going to win that. Let's just move on. Even though I do think the Bengals are going to be a little worse than expected, I still don't think we're going to win. So this game versus the Panthers, I think by this time you're going to see Desmond Ridder start. Because Marcus Mariota only has them at 3-4. I think they maybe want to see a change, especially against a team that's actually struggling. No offense to Carolina Panthers fans. I mean, it's not like the Falcons are doing much better, but Carolina Panthers are struggling. They don't have a quarterback. Their head coach, I think by this time, will get fired, actually, so they're probably going to have an interim head coach. And it doesn't really look like their offensive weapons, except for maybe DJ Moore, doesn't really look like a lot of them really want to stay. Robbie Anderson thinks about retiring. I think Desmond Ridder, it's not going to be pretty for sure. It's not going to be a pretty win, but I do think that we're going to win this one. Then, I guess the only bright side is that we're home versus the Chargers here, but I don't really see how this is going to be a win. This is just way too talented of a roster for especially a rookie quarterback in Desmond Ridder to beat. I don't see this being a win. Then a short travel on Thursday night to Carolina to play the Panthers again. Really the same story I said earlier. I don't think the Panthers will have any momentum going for them. And I think Desmond Ridder's... I don't think he's going to be perfect. I think he's going to have a lot of learning curves year one, but, it's against a struggling team. I think he's going to be fine. So I guess we win this one. And then the easiest game for him so far against the Chicago Bears. I honestly think this is the only game I see that is, I don't want to say a guaranteed win, but it just looks like it's the most winnable game for us. the Bears, I don't really like what they're doing with Justin Fields. Like, they got Darnell Mooney and all, but, like, what else? Like, they don't have any great wide receivers to work with, so their offense is not going to be a problem in my eyes. Their defense is not the same like it was. So I think Desmond Ridder will be okay against this defense, and we're also home. I think this is going to be a win. And then the Falcons versus Carson Wentz and the Washington Commanders. This looks like the exact same matchup we saw last year. Like I don't think we're better than them roster wise, but I don't think we have just no chance at all. Overall, this is a tough one, and I kind of don't really even feel all that good about it, but Washington's home field advantage isn't really all that good. I think Falcons fans are probably going to travel pretty well. Carson Wentz is kind of known to throw the game away. No offense, but he kind of is. And honestly, we could have beat them last year. We just had this miserable choke. So I think it's going to be about the same game we saw last year. I just think it's going to be a different result because I think the Falcons will be hungry after what happened last year. And I think by this time, Arthur Smith is going to have something cooking a little bit for this team. So we're actually 7-5, but don't feel too good about yourselves. We have some rough games coming up. The Falcons and the Steelers. So this is a winnable game. Kenny Pickett, I don't really know what to make of him in year one. And the Steelers did lose Juju Smith-Schuster, so I think the Falcons by this time will actually have a better offense to work with. But it is Mike Tomlin and the Steelers defense. The Falcons just never really beat the Steelers anyway. So I don't really see this being a win. And then this next game I don't really see being a win either. I don't really see how we're going to win this at all. The Saints have a really good home field advantage. Now, we've actually been okay against them recently, but again, Jameis Winston's going to keep this team a little bit alive for the playoff hunt, and they have a good defense. I'm sorry, Falcons fans, but at the moment, I have us getting swept by the Saints. And then this game versus the Ravens, I don't see us winning that. I really don't see us winning that. Move on. So, finally, kind of an okay situation going on for the Falcons versus the Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals are not to be slept on. They still have a very explosive offense with Kyler Murray, and DeAndre Hopkins is probably going to play by this time. J.J. Watt, if he's healthy, will be here, but at the same time, the Cardinals do have these second-half chokes. Cliff Kingsbury maybe will be fired by this time because they just kind of know who he is as a coach. So, I don't know. And the Falcons are never really all that bad against the Cardinals anyway. So, I think this will be our last win because the next game is versus the Buccaneers. And if you think we're going to win that, I guess you have to convince me we will. So, the Falcons, I have best case scenario finishing 8-9. So, in other words, I'll be honest with you, I don't really see how this is going to be a great season. It's a really hard schedule with an unproven roster. I like Arthur Smith a lot, and I think he is the future for the Falcons, but he's got to develop this team before we start saying that they're going to start winning a lot of these games. Now, they are in the NFC, and the crazy thing is that 8-9 could actually be good enough to put them in the playoffs, at least as like a 7th seed. I think maybe the Saints and the Cardinals maybe could take like the 5th and 6th seed above us maybe, or I don't know, like the 49ers, like something like that. But the Falcons, I don't want to say a playoff spot is impossible, especially in the NFC where it's just not as good as the AFC, but 8-9 actually sounds about realistic. I don't think Arthur Smith is going to have this team suck, but I don't really see how this is going to be an amazing season. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Other than that, I'll see you guys with a video this Tuesday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. Love and appreciate you all for the support, and as always, rise up.